Whoever may be watching this, may this bring you light, may this bring you comfort. More importantly, let this video deepen your understanding of your true nature, of who you are. I am posting a portion of an interview that I did with a very, very dear human being that I've known ever since I was a child. And his path, his evolution has been extraordinary. One of the greatest lights in my life, one of the greatest inspirations in my life. So this is an interview with a beloved human being, like a brother to me, even more than that. He's just like, he's been a light in my life. I didn't record a whole interview because I had issues, technical issues, I'll be honest, in the beginning. But more importantly, the videos were never really meant to be recorded. They were just conversations we were having. But the conversations have evolved so beautifully that, and I asked his permission if he wouldn't mind me sharing this. Prior to showing you the video, I want you to just consider this. Watch this with an open mind, but more importantly, one of the key takeaways from this is an open mind and an open heart. You can't have an open heart without an open mind, and you can't have an open mind without an open heart. And this is a quote from this video recording. You will hear what Rishi has to say. The last thing I want to mention is if this resonates with you, and I would love to have more recordings with Rishi. In fact, it was our intention for a long time to start co-hosting in a way, or me interviewing him. It was a video that we were calling, a series we were calling Conversations with Rishi. So if you would like me to post more of these, I'm sure, well, I wouldn't presume, but I would hope, and I believe Rishi would very much be open to speaking about anything that has to do with the truth. So please enjoy this video.
And I came to see something that's very difficult to see. I know that, which is I can't be the one that's doing it. It's just that simple. It's like, and let me tell you, from my heart, it's clear that it is clear the knowingness of there's no one to do it is clear. It's not like you kind of feel awake or not awake. No, it's clear. That's how you know you're something is still mixed. Consciousness is still mixed, because of course we're consciousness, but it's mixed. It has a sense of an I. But in the clarity of seeing, that's the magnetic power. That's the juice. That's what can transmit. Nothing else. Nothing else can transmit. Everything else can talk about it, but only that is speaking from it. Which at times can happen, where you're having a moment, and some of your words that are coming with that power. What I'm saying is that whatever sense of identity is left is gonna intrude. Is very quickly. It's gonna use it to grow. So it's just the vigilance has to be there.
Yeah, I remember you, we were talking before. What was it? Mujahid asked Papa G. Papa G said, somebody had, or maybe it wasn't Muji who asked, somebody asked him, do you still have to be vigilant? And he says, till my last breath.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? I'm just paraphrasing, obviously.
Yes. It's like, no, it's exactly that. And I'm seeing that very, it's funny that our conversation has led to this. That has been so alive in me right now. Like the recognition, how can I say? It's almost like the more surrendered one is to the truth, the more one recognizes that as long as there's a body and a vital force, stuff's gonna play. It's just the nature, man. And to think that it doesn't is only gonna catch you. To think that it doesn't is what's gonna that's why the vigilance, because the vigilance comes from the intelligence of knowing that while there's a vital force, there's a mind. And while there's a mind, it's gonna play. Until the last breath, it'll play. But it's okay. It can play. It's just the denial of that will make it a problem.
Yes. Hence would you say that, hence the whole essence of surrender and acceptance? Because there's a certain arrogance and not accepting and surrendering to everything that is. It creates, we are within this fabricated mold, and unless you open that up, and that's why having an open mind is so important. And that's why I credit my mother, who recently passed, as you know, who was always into the esoteric, into the, always pushing me to open up my mind. And I'm so deeply grateful for that, you know.
It's funny you said that, though. This morning I woke up, I reached for my phone, which I have this app, this notes app, where I write things that come. And just this morning I wrote, you can't have an open heart without an open mind. And
Beautiful.
you can't have an open mind without an open heart.
So true. So true.
They go together.
Yes.
It's impossible. It's
That is
impossible.
so well said.
Yeah, it's
That should be a t-shirt, you
so yeah, yeah, exactly.
know? Oh,
Exactly.
I
One
love that.
more.
You can't have an open mind without an open heart. You can't have an
Yeah,
open heart without an open mind.
I
Absolutely.
wrote I wrote something with it which I felt because I like to explain after. Let me just yeah. I said this is what I said. Yeah, an open heart is an open mind. You cannot have an open mind without a closed heart. With a closed heart, and you cannot have an open heart with a closed mind.
All right.
Why? Why? Because we are openness itself.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Would you say that happens simultaneously or one comes before the other?
Hmm?
Would you say this comes simultaneously? So in other words, oh, hold
Yeah,
on.
you're going into some of the funniest questions in the universe. The high because you're asking it's like the chicken and the egg. The reasons I love talking to you is you have a bit of these kind of intellectual questions, which I like. I appreciate also. But like yeah, what pushes what? Is it the open mind that leads to the open heart, or the open
Yeah.
heart that leads to the open mind?
Yeah.
And there isn't a direction. It can be back and forth. Depends on each one at each moment. But you can definitely recognize it, and if somebody's an open mind, you will feel an openness in them. It's
Yeah.
just
No,
another
I know.
word ultimately.
Yeah.
You know,
Which brings me to intuition. Would you say, because there is no question, at least in this experience, that intuition has far exceeded any of the capacity of the mind, and in a point to where it's just taken over. I mean, my life right now is just fully intuitive. I don't think anymore really about anything at all. The only time thoughts really
no,
come is only, and this
practical.
just happens haphazardly for the most practical things. Like, for example, if I have to send an email to the electricity company, okay, I
Yeah,
have a
that's
thought, oh, I
wonderful.
can, but that's it. There's no more use, at least in this experience, of the mind. It doesn't show up.
No, you'll have use in practical ways, as you just
That's
said
all.
perfectly.
That's
Yeah,
all. So,
imagine that you suddenly have to build something, or then you'll need it.
so here's the question. The
Yeah.
fact is, obviously, the impermanence of mind activity has been seen as a result of what I just explained, but the heart still has always remained. In other words, the intuition has always been there. It seemed that it was only clouded by the narrow perspective and the conditioned nature of the mind. Make sense what I'm saying? So the
Yes, yes.
chicken and egg question it begs me to go back to that, is that we do have in a sense that a way to look at the
Yeah, it
chicken
just depends
and egg.
what you're calling. Yeah, it depends what you're calling heart, exactly.
Yes, it depends what you're calling heart. And in this way, in this
Yeah.
sense, heart is I think, how can we experience heart? There's no really to experience. I think intuition is the closest thing to it because intuition is not objective.
Yeah. So let me see if I because I like it. I like it where you're. So, for example, when we're speaking about this specific metaphor, open heart, open mind, or these words, that which we are is prior to that also.
Yes.
There's no open heart, open mind, closed heart. That's just inside the play of duality. In our natural state, there's just literally. I mean, I can be here with you now. It's a field. It's like it's infinite nothingness. It's 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 there is nothing fundamentally real about any of this. It's like it's something. So
I laugh because it's just that's been realized, dude. I
yes,
know.
I know.
It's crazy. It's nothing
Because
real. This is all.
because the self knows itself.
Yeah.
So so no, my point is just to bringing it into to kind of to bring it into some kind of practical explanation. So this
By the way,
kind of
sorry, if I could just quickly just a thought. Is that why the Buddha was laughing the whole time? Because he realized what you just said.
yeah, that's why
The
most of
Buddha's
them
smiling the whole time because he realized this is all a play, right?
yeah. In fact, they're all laughing inside.
Yeah.
In fact, they're having to be very serious in order to transmit their teaching.
Yeah.
They're forced to pretend the seriousness
Yeah.
in order to help facilitate the teaching. It's all make believe. Anyone who's awake is pretending. But they know out of love and compassion that they need to do that. Otherwise, they'd lose everyone. That's why I say if they spoke directly from, they have no listeners.
That's right. Right. And
So they have to come. They have to come down and meet people where they are.
if I may just ask, say something, you were talking about we were talking about the heart and mind, and I love this conversation. Prior to that, and there's no such thing as prior, and that's the thing when you get into this field of the absolute, everything becomes contrived. Everything is just arises and goes down, so it really has no reality whatsoever. And to maintain serious, what a relief it is. I would say the biggest relief I've had in my life is when I realized that this is all an illusion.
Yeah, I don't think seeing this as an illusion is a relief. What's a relief is seeing that the person you thought you were is an illusion.
And you said it better than I did, because that's what it was. It was that the person seeing through the personal identity as an illusion.
Exactly. Like seeing literally that it's
Yeah.
made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally made up. If you see it
Yeah.
even more clearly, it's literally seeing it's just a movement. It's like it's not even it's just a thought like any other thought.
Yes. Do
That's
you
the thing.
think,
If you yeah.
I'm so sorry to you're just
No, it's good.
you're spitting out so many truth bombs,
Yeah.
brother. It just coming. Zen Buddhism, right? For example, I don't know so much, but it intrigues me. I've read some, and it's
Yeah.
all about being in the cusp of that beyond even the moment, just right here, right now. Whatever is arising has no objective reality whatsoever. Things are just happening spontaneously, and you're just flowing. And Shintoism, Lao Tzu, like Taoism, same thing, right? It's just the flow. It's just that immediate, spontaneous happening. It's all just a happening with no reason, no rhyme, with nothing, with nobody doing anything. Things are just happening spontaneously.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it like that because for my temperament, that sounds very dry.
Okay.
I see it as it's happening for a reason, perfectly
Hmm.
by the source. It's actually perfectly orchestrated.
Yeah.
It's not nihilistic. It's not like whatever for
Yeah.
nothing. Nobody. It's no. It's just no. There is a what's the word that's used that I like? A benevolent force.
Yes.
There's a loving force that
And
is
that is
for
where I was
yeah
mentioning
taking
about intuition. You feel you cannot know that. It's intuitive.
yeah. So I know. So in your specific case, this is why I like it. Your sadhana, so to speak, you understand the word sadhana?
Spiritual
Spiritual,
practice.
yeah, is to pull your head there
Mhm.
because you have a strong tendency for mind,
Yes.
which is it's a good tool and everything. But you have it's become like you were saying about the grease on the door.
Yeah.
It's very easy to go there.
Yeah.
So for you, the spiritual practice is to feel more, not to comprehend more, but feel it more. Feel what's already awakening within you. Yeah, which is what's happening. I'm just saying that that's why you're speaking that difference. Of course, because the word intuition is just a word, but it points to something much greater than mind. My goodness, one is connected to the infinite. The mind is very yeah. Who knows where the mind's
Limited.
coming from? We don't even know where the mind's coming from.
Yeah.
We actually don't know. We actually don't even know who set up the mind and
Fascinating.
how we don't know.
Mm.
It's just so intuition. No, intuition. You know, this is like I need to go there,
Mhm.
and you go, and
Mhm.
you don't know where that came from, but you know it's real. So that must have come from some really true source. But 99% of the mind, like Guruji said, no, 99% of the mind is rubbish, and the other 1% is also rubbish. And I know exactly what he means. It's like
Mm. I
it's
have, yeah, 100%.
the mind is a fantastic. It's like a miraculous tool.
Mm.
But that's it.
Mm. It's a
You
tool.
know, it's
That's
that's
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah,
I look at it like a even a material thing in a sense, like a car. A car is a tool to get from point A to point B. The mind I use as a tool, only as a tool now, to do what is needed in this phenomenal three dimension. Like I was mentioning before, if I need to pay my electricity bill, a thought comes in, okay, I need to pay the bill this time, but there is no personal identity that's involved with any of the thinking that happens anymore, at least in this experience.
but that's very good. That's yeah, that's wonderful. How relieving.
It's extremely relieving.
How relieving, because of course the trouble in all this experience of life is nothing to do with the mind. It's not the mind. It's not the body. You know, it's nothing. The trouble is the psychological me.
Mhm.
That's what's making humanity suffer.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's
Mhm.
the mind is divine and also altruistic, and
Mhm.
it's just this something created this me, this sense of a separate I has really created concocted a very strange image, self-image of itself. Because even that I could be pure, even if a sense of a separate me could be kind of pure, but it's not. It has so many bad beliefs about itself,
Mhm.
and not true beliefs.
Mhm.
So, which in a way it's perfect because otherwise we wouldn't ever realize that that I is not real. How would we know that that I is not real if it was perfectly aligned with this universe? We would never know. So to go beyond even the I, it needs to malfunction.
So true. And that's why when we're not in homeostasis, when we're not in a point of just that balance and that harmony, which is already fully present, what it is, because this is a divine balance. This is a divine harmony that's playing out here right now, beyond any kind of understanding from a
Yeah,
conceptual
all the time.
perspective the whole time. It's just pure bliss in a sense. It's just pure divinity.
Yeah.
And that pure divinity is so elusive for the vast majority of human beings. And can you imagine? There was just something that arose as you were speaking about Krishnamurti. When we are born, you and I went to school together, obviously, and when we are born and we start going to school, the conditioning starts happening. Krishnamurti, I believe, when he was living in Ojai in California, close to Santa Barbara, the Ojai Valley, beautiful place, he founded a school because he believed very much, Jiddu Krishnamurti, that from a very early age, the conditioning that's happening, of course, is leading us to so much pain, so much suffering. We're not shown the truth from children. Can you imagine if these kind of
Yeah.
conversations, but more simplistically, um, let's say more rudimentary in their conversational style, so that let's say like a 5-year-old can understand. If we start pointing out to children, you know, what is real, what is not, who are you? And I think the fundamental question would be, would be based on identity, because that the identity is really the antagonist of the personal identity is an antagonist of the harmonious living that already exists here. And it by taking shape and believing in itself and in believing in its thoughts, it creates that quote unquote separation, but nothing really is separate.
Yeah, but that's the great mystery, you know? Like you can have a kid brought up with parents that are totally immersed in presence, but there will be an age that that kid will have to experience ego. It will have to go through that.
Yes. Because
It
if we
is
don't
just
experience ego, we don't know who we are, right? Like to go back to your point, unless you have
yeah,
this harmony, you won't experience harmony.
yeah. This is the play. This is the planet we're on. It's a planet of duality. Yeah,
Yin and yang. The
yeah.
yin
To
and
try
yang.
to to try to escape duality
Yeah.
is a misunderstanding.
Yes. Would you say the symbol of yin and yang represents the duality? Is that what it is?
I think it's an amazing symbol.
Yeah. Because I
It's an
think I've always
amazing,
loved it, but I never thought, and I haven't looked this up, but I think that's what it is.
yeah, it's an amazing symbol, and together it's the whole.
Right.
Yeah, the light and the dark and the light, and the dark next to the light, and then there's the whole. Because as we were just saying, all of it are just representations, but that which is true and ultimate is what witnesses it, all of it, and is none
Yeah.
of it.
And I feel that as we
But
move towards the
but
light,
it is this.
Mhm.
But so this is why I say to you, when you're just for you to take it in, when you go, yeah, because nothing is real. Yes, but at some point you come to see that all of it is real also. Um, is what I'm saying is that 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 which is the infinite is what is making this very moment real. To disrespect that is unwise because it is flowering with all of this. So to deny it is unwise because well, yeah, go on, try to deny what is. Yeah, you'll find out who's not real. The one saying that it's not real is the one that's not real.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah. So true.
So it's a really good reminder. Like I use it at times, when there's like a sense of like these waves where there's more of like it just feels like wow, like some very strong personal kind of movements, identity, whatever that. In those moments, I many times remind myself that the source makes whatever we want real right now. Like that's why it's it's that famous statement that Muji used a lot, no? Like where the pundits, the philosophers said, only the absolute, the world is not real, right? That this is a first statement that one of the philosophers says in the meetings. The world is not real, and all the pundits like, yeah, hey, here. And then he goes, only the absolute is real, and the pundits, yeah, here, and then he goes, the world is the absolute, and everybody goes silent because this is the last kind of understanding, so to speak. Because as long as there's a sense of separation, then you are not seeing from the clearest picture. It is all real. That's why I prefer to say the psychological mind is a complete added burden because we will respect this planet. We will treat the people right, because otherwise you start to go into these areas where you don't need to care about anything.
Yes.
And that's not true. This is God. This is
Correct.
God's creation. But the psychological identity, that is a complete myth and a trouble, man.
Mhm.
It's worthless.
Yeah.
If anything, its only purpose is almost like
Shake us
like
awake.
sand in the eye.
Mm.
Its only purpose is so that you can kind of remove it and see how it is to see clearly. It's just for that.
Beautiful. Beautiful analogy. I love that. Like
Yeah.
sand in the eye. That's so true. When you
Yeah.
remove it to see clear, that's so true.
Yeah.
Beautiful analogy.
That's I'd say that's its only purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even like imagine when you see these amazing inventions and football and whatever it is, they have nothing to do with the psychological mind. Everything that we find fascinating is coming from the self. It doesn't need the psychological mind to create skyscrapers and invent AI. It's just using its tools. The self has all these tools it can use. It doesn't need the me. The me is what creates the trouble.
Mm.
The me is what breaks the connection.
Yeah. So true.
And
You
that's the
said,
one the hardest to let go of.
mm-hmm.
That's our sadhana.
Because we're addicted to that me.
There's
We're
an
taught to
addiction
become
to it.
addicted to it.
There's an addiction to it, yeah.
It's the worst
And
addiction we have.
an attachment. Yeah, it is the most difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's an attachment. There is truly, even if you pray that you don't want it, it is there. Like this Yeah, something does not want to dissolve completely into nothingness. It's just a thought because it doesn't happen that way. When it happens, it's just but something will put up that fight, and there's a need to be persistent and just keep surrendering because it's not something that you can like I let go of it. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's through life.
Mhm.
It's through life experiences.
You know, you mentioned, you said something that the universe is benevolent. Once that is really seen, there's no,
Yeah.
it's an unshakable conviction. I mean, it's such an unshakable conviction. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're talking about benevolence, that bit which is fully understood and it's fully recognized. Um, at least in this experience, it's been fully recognized that the universe is completely benevolent, and there's absolutely no question about that. So I think you mentioned something before that once we have reached a certain understanding, the reason we don't just become isolated and tell the world to whatever, do whatever you want, why we feel a level of, like, for example, my level of empathy as a being has grown tremendously ever since this recognition. There was always there, but never at this point where there's so much love for humanity. There's so much love for life,
Yeah.
so much love for this existence. It's boundless. This was never there before at this level, at this proportion. And I think that's why the actions come from that benevolence. It comes from an open heart. And when the actions come completely from the open heart without the tainted narrative of personal identity, they're so much more pure and they're so much more authentic.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, but the seeing is that you can't do that, isn't it? That's the seeing.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Yes.
seeing is, listen, the only reason you can love more or feel more or have more compassion is because there's less ego. That's the only reason. The self cannot be more loving or more compassionate. There's no such thing. It's just the less of a sense of a me is operating, the more this light can shine through. That's what's happening. You see, this is the thing is the mind always somehow trying to come in and narrate things through its prism. It doesn't realize that it's the absence of it that is making all this happen. It's um, it's really difficult to believe that the person that people are living as is really difficult for people to see that they're living a fiction. It's not real. It has no merit. The only merit it has is the one that the heart, the self, is putting into it. So this infinite source is funneling into these people, and that people giving credit to the person.
Mhm.
But the self is like, it's not the person, it's obviously the self.
Mhm.
And that's why from one moment to the next, the person disappears, is because the person is insignificant. The person is insignificant. Isn't it incredible that we're worshiping
Yeah.
persons all the time? When they're
We're
insignificant, they come and
worshiping
go.
an illusion.
I can't
That's
hear you.
amazing.
Is it me?
Um, can you hear me
Hey,
now?
I got you. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. No, yeah, we're worshiping an illusion.
Yeah, we're worshiping ghosts.
Yeah.
Not even ghosts. I
Not
think
even ghosts.
ghosts are more real.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. We're worshiping an imagined character in somebody's movie.
Mhm.
Like it's quite something.
Mhm.
But of course, unless this is already at some level announced in itself, you cannot. You cannot. There's no bridge there. There's no bridge because there's no actual bridge from the person to the self because the person doesn't exist. So there is no bridge. There's just the reminding of that which is there in spite of the person. That's the bridge, so to speak.
Mhm.
That's the way is to remind, to keep reminding and seeing clearly. When we see clearly, then the rest can unfolds on its own.
Yeah.
That's why most teachers are more concerned with you seeing clearly what you are. They're not so concerned with trying to resolve all the aspects of identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think You were saying something before that I love about the fact that everybody has a way of expressing this, everybody has a way of understanding this.
That's
For some
right.
people, and I'll tell you in my case, it had to be a deconstruction of my mental understanding. It was a deconstructing or a deconditioning. It was just a deconditioning, deconditioning, deconditioning until it came a point there was no other conditioning. There was just no other thought. There was just what is here right now, real, raw being. No more conditioning for my case. Um, and it's amazing how superfluous, how unnecessary, how, like you said, I don't like to use this word, but really it is just garbage. That personal identity, that mental noise, how has that in any way, it's all gone, first of all. Right now, this doesn't exist anymore. Everything that I've ever thought about in my life is gone. Everything is gone. Everything. So all of that weight, once it's gone, imagine that weight. Like I think the vast majority of human beings hold on to this weight of personal identity, and a lot of that personal identity is based on the past, pretty much, right? That was the foundation of their character. It is conditioned together with stories. The stories tie in the identity and so forth. But what a beautiful release! What an
Yeah.
incredible, just to have.
And in truth, it doesn't even have weight. That's the thing. It's just that I'm just going to say it in a different language.
Yes, please.
In truth, it is just that it's blocking the lightness. Like because there how can something that doesn't exist have weight?
Yeah.
What we're experiencing is the absence of light. So it feels experientially like heavy.
Mhm.
But if seen correctly, it's just the absence of what we are. We're all suffering from that. We're missing ourselves. We
Yeah.
are so missing ourselves. Like yeah, such is the way.